Hello everybody and welcome to the second video of the Basic Emotion series. This video will be part 2 of the basic emotion anger, and in this video I will be talking about the acting craft and how to portray anger as an actor on stage or in front of a camera. And this video will be split in 3 parts. The first part will be a little recap of my previous video. The second part will be about examples from other actors. So I will show you some clips from shows or movies, and then I will analyze them. The third part will be about the technique that I use and some tricks that I've learned to help me build my character and portray the emotion anger as a character on stage or in front of a camera. Okay, so in the previous video I've talked about anger as an emotion and where it comes from, why some people get more angrier than others, and how you can manage anger. So if you want to watch that, go to my previous video. It's called Anger Part 1, and in that video there will be a little bit of facts about anger and how you can manage anger and why anger is not only a bad emotion but also can be used for change. So a little recap of the previous video. Anger is about change. You are not agreeing with something and your body is using all this energy and gets all this tension, and that has to go out. That's what I'm going to use in today's video also. And you can see when I will show you the clips that when playing an angry character you need to use that energy, and you need that energy because your body is creating it so you can make a change in a situation. If you don't like a situation, you can use that anger and sometimes let people know you're frustrated, show them your boundaries. I've also explained that people come from different environments, of course. So some people maybe have been growing up with parents that have been shouting a lot, or other people have maybe grown up with parents that are very strict and you can't let your emotions out. It depends on what kind of person you are, what kind of situation you had when you grew up, and with what kind of friends you went and hang out with. So keep that in mind when building your character, because you need that kind of background story to make your character believable. So now I will show you some clips, and the first video will be about Ray Shoesmith from Mr. Intbetween. He lives as a hitman, but he has also a personal life in the show. That's what the show is all about. He has some anger issues, and well, you'll see it for yourself.
I'll show a bit of gratitude and throw you some cash.
Do I look like I need the money?
I don't think you look like you need the money.
You know how much I make in a year?
Why are you being a dickhead? Why the fuck would you take a present off a little kid? You're a grown man. What the fuck do you want with a fucking girly candle?
Because it's kitschy.
It's kitschy.
Yeah, kitschy.
As you can see, Ray is not the kind of person that is very angry with words. When he's really angry, he just uses his body, and that's what he's good at. He's a hitman, so he knows what to do, how to punch people and how to hurt people. He always gets this sort of smile on his face when people really piss him off, and he's like, I'm gonna hurt you, man. So you see that in this scene. He did hurt the guy, and it was the brother of his girlfriend, so that's a little bit of a painful moment. But as you can see, it's a different kind of anger, and it's the one we bottle up and then we use it physically without shouting. So I think it's a good example to show that this is also a way to be angry. So the next clip will be about Lois Wilkinson. She's a character from Malcolm in the Middle. That is a comedy sitcom show. In this clip, she's in a parking lot and there's another woman pushing her door and slamming it against Lois' her car. And well, see it for yourself, she gets a little bit angry.
Excuse me. I know you didn't think anyone would catch you, but you just slammed your door into my car. The least you can do is say you're sorry, lady. You don't have to take that tone. I'm sorry. See? Like that.
So as you can see, she starts off frustrating and she asks the woman to say sorry, but the woman doesn't. And well, she takes matter into her own hands. It's a humorous scene, I know, but it's also a good example to show people that you can get angrier the more the situation changes. And well, you see here that it's not the best thing to do, but yeah, sometimes the anger takes over and you do irrational things and use that anger to, well, hurt somebody else. And in this scene, hurt someone else's car till it's broke. So this is the aftermath, by the way. Okay, so the third clip will be about Andy Hansen from the movie Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. It's about the heist. Two brothers try to rob a jewelry store from their parents that is insured, so easy money, they think. It's Andy's plan, but Hank really screws up, and Hank also goes to bed with the girlfriend of Andy. Okay, spoilers. So the mother dies, and Andy is now left with a grieving father, a dead mother, and in panic little brother that needs money, that screws his wife, and he also has things from work that are constantly pushing him. So he has this scene where he rages in the car, he's like very angry, but then all of a sudden he just becomes empty. And I've seen that some people just go numb, and that's where you can see in this scene. This is supposed to be a tear up the room scene and destroy everything. So Philip Seymour Hoffman in this scene portrays Andy very well because he knows he's numb and has no emotion. And he does it in a pretty creative and distinguished way.
Hi, you've reached Dana and Andy. Leave a message.
As you can see, the character Andy has no energy left. So the actor that portrays Andy uses that numbness and uses that anger that still tries to get that energy in his body, that he has to express, that he has to let it out, and he just destroys things on a different kind of way. It's very slow, but you can still see it's anger, and not only anger, it's also sadness and just, well, numbness overall. So yeah, it's a pretty heavy scene, but it's a good example of how you can portray anger in a scene like this. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my own techniques and my own tricks that I use to, well, realistically portray anger as a character. And I also want to say this is of course not the truth. Acting is subjective, so you can see this as a technique that I've learned myself, and you don't have to use it. You don't have to use my advice. It's just the way I do it, and maybe you can learn something from it, and maybe you want to see something else. You can always put it in the comments, of course, and I will respond to that. But okay, here we go. As you can see, often when people get angry, they're breathing heavily. Their heart rate goes up and their body is full of tension. So that's a technique that I use. You can, well, use that heavily breathing like this and get this tension in your body, like get this tension throughout all your body, tighten up your arms, your muscles, and what also helps is that you can tighten up your jaw like this. You can, for close-ups, it's more handy when you're getting angry, you know. That's that's when you're getting real angry, you know. But you also have this frustration. This frustration goes with what the hell is going on, man, or what are you trying to say, you know? What? It's like the energy. You're trying to make yourself big. You use that to get a change in the situation. And what I also use is, well, raising my voice. If you raise your voice, you know that you're angry most of the times, you know. But except for speaking in the crowd, but you know, when you're raising your voice, That's what people do when they get angry. So you tighten up your body, you have this heavy breathing, you raise your voice, and you sound like this, and nobody messes around with me, you know? Nobody messes around with me. Well, that's the top tier acting. Top tier acting. Okay, so you can raise your voice and then let people know you're angry. You can use that when playing. That's how you get mad and frustrated, and that's how you show people to back off. You know, make yourself big, tighten your body. Those are things that you can use to portray anger. You use that kind of body language to show people, okay, I'm angry, you know. I'm angry and don't mess with me. Don't you mess with me. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the thing that is in my mind when I'm acting angry. So, well, I use a sort of method acting kind of way from Lee Strasberg, and that is connecting your own experiences with the character and the situation where the character is in. You have to be careful with this, because if you haven't yet processed the emotional experience and you're using it, then you're maybe getting into something very nasty that you don't want to be in, because you can use pretty heavy experiences that you have felt in your life, and then when your character gets in a situation that is similar to that experience, you can use that. Okay, so let me give you an example. So I'm gonna stand here in front of the camera and I'm going to use a experience that I felt a couple of years ago and using that to be angry. And for this situation I've created a character that is, well, let's keep it light. He's been rejected for prom. He wants to go out with a girl and, well, it didn't work out. So now he's rejected, and it's the third time that he's been rejected because, yeah, he has asked many girls and it's just a despair. And he gets angry and sad, because that's also a thing. Anger is not only angry, it's also sadness and fear, and well, there are different emotions at play when you're in situations like this. So, but anger is now the thing that I will be focusing upon. Okay, so again. Rejected again. Can't believe this shit. Why in the hell am I getting rejected all the time? So, that was some masterclass acting. No, but that's the technique that I use, and well, now you see, it's things that play in my head, and I can use it. I can feel the emotion that I felt back then, and I can push it away. I can set it aside right away after. So that's the thing you have to learn, because if you haven't processed these thoughts and these emotions, you can really, well, end up in an ugly place, and you don't want that on set or on a stage. So you have to be careful with that. And I also want to remind you that when you're up close like this, then your face has more meaning. But when you're in a theater, you have to play big, and with the camera it's like it's more subtle, and you have to get used to all the different kind of shots. Okay, so I want to thank you for watching. I hope you've learned something from this video. And like I said earlier, you can also put a comment on the video if you have any questions for me. And if you want to see me play in another situation with a different character, you can always ask me, and I'll try my best to show you some different kind of options when playing a character. And I want to ask you to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!